It's from the strong arm.
Is it?
Yeah. You could frame it at home. You got it.
It's on now. Good.
I'm gonna give it to Brad.
Doing pretty good.
I think the question is, how are you doing?
No, that's the unfortunate part. Is as soon as one person stops coughing, somebody else starts coughing. I mean, Maisie has had it, then I got it, and then we thought we were all over it, and then Paris and my dad start sniffling. And I'm like, dang it, and then I start coughing again, and so does Maisie. So I'm like, maybe Thanksgiving we'll get it all out the house.
Call the meeting to order. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and the city in which we live. Guide us this afternoon as we make our decisions. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
This is the regular meeting of the Newnan City Council, November the 14th, 2023. You have the minutes from the regular meeting of October the 24th, 2023 before you. I'll entertain a motion. We adopt those.
So moved.
Second.
A motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those like sign, motion carried. Thank you. Next item on our agenda this morning or this afternoon are appointments to boards and commissions. The first one is to the Cultural Arts Commission. Ms. Jenkins.
I do not have that.
Okay, next agenda, please. The next is Mr. Guillaume. Development.
Next meeting, please.
Thank you. And then the next, Mr. Crick.
I'd like to appoint Mr. David Carlson to the Tree Commission.
All right. Is there a
Second.
Motion is second. We appoint Mr. David Carlton to the Tree Commission.
Carlson, yep.
Carlton. All right. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those like sign, motion carried. Thank you. Mr. Phillips, do you have anything today?
Real quick, Mayor, Council, you'll find by each of your locations the first draft of the 2024 proposed budget. Just want to make that announcement. Be sure to reach out to me to schedule some meetings. Also, the document is available for public review. Currently have a copy in my office for review. We'll be posting a copy of the proposed draft online. We'll also be scheduling our required public hearings and presentations. So looking forward to feedback and comments from the proposed budget.
Thanks, sir. And I don't have anything today. Under new business, it has not been since 1991 when any sports team at Newnan High School won a state championship. But this year, cured that. The Lady Cougars have won the 6A state championship in softball. And we have some plaques that we're going to give you at the end when we read out some of the resolution. But right now, we have a resolution. It's very unusual that we do something like this. In fact, there's only one other proclamation. It's the U.S. Constitution Day that we do before council. But a state championship really warrants this type of attention. So we're going to take turns reading this. So y'all bear with us. We've not done this like this ever before that I know of.
We don't read.
So, a resolution to recognize the 2023 Lady Cougars softball team of Newnan High School. Whereas the mayor and city council of the city of Newnan does hereby recognize the outstanding achievement of the Newnan High School Lady Cougars softball team. And
Whereas the Lady Cougars were led by head coach Carrie Gilmore and assistant coaches Allison Johns, Addison Lashley, Abby Garner, and Mark Gilmore. And
whereas the team had an overall season record of 27-7 that concluded with a remarkable playoff run and the program's first ever Class 6A Georgia State Championship. And
whereas their shutout games in the Super Regionals against Shiloh, Etowah, and Blessed Trinity earned them a trip to the Elite Eight State Tournament in Columbus, Georgia. And
Whereas in Columbus, they played shutout games Yes.
against Grovetown, South Effingham, River Ridge, and Pope en route to the state championship. And
Whereas the team is the first in their 6A region classification and first team in any classification since 2009 to shut out every opponent during their remarkable playoff run. And
Whereas Kerry Gilmore became the program's winningest head coach during the 2023 season, and star senior pitcher Maddie Veal posted 312 strikeouts for the season and 749 for her career, both high school records. And
whereas, and this is where I'm going to ask the coach to come up and help me hand out plaques, if that's okay, or the actually there are copies of the resolution that we're adopting today. So I am going to attempt to read your names off. If I get any of them wrong, please excuse me. And whereas the 2023 Lady Cougar softball team consisting of Gabby Espy, Katie Hector, Presley Ivy, is it Evie or Eddie? Evie, okay, I knew it Eddie. Spelled it exactly the same way. Mathis, C.A. Moss, Callie Norton, Leah Reddick, Addison Smith, Gracie Smith, Abby Stewart, Georgia Trammell, Brooke Tucker, pitcher extraordinaire Maddie Veal, Cleo Walker, last but not least, Piper Willie, and Coach, congratulations. Thank you very much. These are yours, and you give it to yourself and the coaches. We appreciate it so much. Now therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and city council of the city of Noonan do hereby declare that November the 14th, 2023 is and shall forever, be known as Lady Cougars Day, Softball Day in the city of Noonan, done, ratified, and passed in regular session on the 14th day of November 2023. I'll ask for a motion to adopt.
so move.
second.
Motion and a second to adopt. Any discussion? None needed. Okay. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. After that, the rest of this is pretty boring. So it's up to you as to whether or not you want to hang around or go celebrate. So thank you again. Go Cougars.
We don't want to take your celebration away.
You're welcome. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, on with the regular agenda. The next item is a public hearing. This is an application for alcohol beverage license. Matthew LTW 415 LLC. The location is 33 East Broad. This is for retail on-premise pouring of distilled spirits, malt beverages, and wine. The reason for this is a new business. I'm going to open a public hearing on this at this time and ask if there's anyone here who would like to come forward and speak to the issue of this alcohol application. Seeing no one come forward, I'm going to close the public hearing at this time and ask if there's a representative here today from that business. Thank you for being here today. We appreciate that, and congratulations on opening new business. Everything's in order. I'll ask for a motion on the application.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to second, we approve the application as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those like sign, motion carried. The next is consideration of extension of distilled spirits package store license, 459 Millard Farmer Industrial. Who has this today? If you'll come forward, please. State your name for the record, please.
My name is Manny Singh. I'm one of the partners on this project. And I'm sorry I'm back here asking for another extension for at least 4 months, if possible. We've had some delays with materials, and the contractor probably has too many projects, and he's just moving too slow. And unfortunately, that's the reason we are delayed in this project.
But the exterior of the building looks really, really good. I live in that area, and it's
It's almost done. We will pay hopefully next week, but with Thanksgiving, I don't think it's going to happen.
right.
It's going to be the week after that.
Okay, all right. For those of you who've not been by, the exterior of the building, solid brick, and it looks great. And, you know, I would suggest that give them the extension. Are you looking for 4 months?
4 months because of Christmas and Thanksgiving holidays, and it takes time to get the licensing in place.
Sure.
At least another 3 to 4 weeks after we finish and get a CO.
All right. Are there any questions? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Just to clarify, the motion is for a 4-month extension.
4 months extension.
Thank you.
Just to make a comment, I would assume that you had tried everything to get open for Christmas anyhow, but it didn't work.
We tried.
I understand.
We'd love to be open
I understand.
before Christmas, but we're going to miss that business this year, unfortunately.
We appreciate your attempts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any discussion, any other questions? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carried, thank you. The next item is a consideration of adoption of agreement of a general addendum from the Georgia Municipal Association, the City of Noonan's defined benefit plan. Ms. Freeman is here today. If you have any questions of her or any questions of staff, I'd be glad to entertain those. If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, we adopt as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign.
Nay.
All right, motion carried 6-1. If you'll put that on our next agenda for second final reading, thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is a consideration of a resolution to declare property surplus of capital assets and controlled assets. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion and second to approve, adopt the resolution declaring surplus property. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carried. The next is a consideration of update to the animal ordinances of the City of Newnan. Chief's here today. How are you, Chief? Good.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. We are here just to ask your consideration of adopting updated definitions of verbiage to the Newnan City Ordinance, Chapter 4, and that's the animal ordinance.
Any questions of the chief regarding the animal control ordinance?
I have a question regarding the definition of the dangerous dog. In the definition proposed, causes substantial puncture to a person's skin by teeth without causing serious injury, provided, however, that a nip, scratch, or abrasion shall not be sufficient to classify a dog as dangerous under this definition. Does that include somebody that trespasses or intrudes on somebody else's, on private property where the dog is kept? Like, say somebody reaches their hand or goes into somebody's private property over the fence or through somebody's fence, and then the dog, protecting their territory, nips or bites,
Well,
or in somebody's home.
That could fall under the police department at that point for criminal activity. If you're on somebody else's property on criminal trespass, then our animal control officer could involve us at that point, for us to get involved.
Okay, and something a little bit more benign, say they're just walking by and they see a cute little dog and the dog bites.
Then I would have our animal control officers investigate it to make the determination if it fits or not, and they're gonna
Okay.
charge them under that.
So there's some leeway in the understanding.
Other questions or comments? Anyone?
Pretty straightforward.
Yep. Motion, please, if you're ready.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion is second, we adopt as presented. Any discussion or further questions? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Thank you.
The next step, the next item is a consideration, adoption of the probation and rehabilitation services agreement between the city of Noonan and the municipal court. Ms. Jada, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. I'm here before you again. This is our final step in the process of bringing probation in-house, and it's just asking today for the consideration to adopt. This is the actual service agreement between the city of Noonan and the judge for the municipal court, laying out the scope of services for the department.
Any questions of Ms. Blankenship?
I had one quick question.
Sure.
Is this something that's gonna have to be renewed every couple of years, the agreement, or is this something that's once said and done?
Mr. Shearsby could address this a little more clearly, but I don't believe so. I believe this is set in stone, correct? The agreement, unless there's something the state requires us to do in the future to revisit.
Yeah, that's what
I thought I saw a period of service. I couldn't remember the period of service. I didn't know if it was like 25 or, actually, I just found it says continuing for 5 years until January 1, 2029.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
auto renewing, yep.
But it's
Okay.
always subject to amendment by this body.
Sure.
At any time.
Technically, it's subject to
But-
withdrawal by
The judge.
Yeah, with 90
30
days.
days. Correct.
Oh, it says 90 days.
Oh, is it 90? Maybe the contract is
And all that is,
30.
that's because of the budget issue to assist the city manager.
Yep.
So that if I decide to get out, then we would have to rebid the program to another, outside provider, and that gives time for the city manager to be able to budget for that money.
Okay.
Okay.
And one other quick question. The fees and rates, are those pretty standard fees and rates?
They are. That's currently what we've been using for several years.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you,
We're rolling those over, no change.
thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Anyone? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, we adopt as presented the probation and rehabilitation services agreement between the city of Noonan and the judge and municipal court. Any discussion, questions, comments? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carried. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, we appreciate your efforts. The next item is consideration of an ordinance for adoption of local amendments to the building code. Mr. Stevenson, how are you today?
Good, Mayor, Council, how are you guys?
Good.
Yes, before you is the second step of the two-step process to adopt the amendments as proposed. The resolution that council passed on October 10th was submitted to DCA on October 11th, and they had 60 days to review the submittal, and they did file it and had no comments for the process, for the proposed amendments. On October 25th, I did receive confirmation from DCA that they have filed the amendments without comment, and we recommend a council approval for the amendments as proposed.
All right,
So moved.
Second.
motion is second. We adopt as presented and recommended for the local amendments to the public code. Any discussion? Questions? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign,
Aye.
motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is a second final reading of an annexation request, which I am going to recuse myself, and I believe Mr. DeVoe is going to recuse himself, and we're going to step out to the back room and let Mayor Pro Tem Corretco handle this item on the agenda. Good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right, this is the second and final reading for the annexation request, Annex 2022, Tax 06, 163.61 plus or minus acres off Green Top Road, tax parcels number 08550860001, 08551070002, 08550860003, and the southern portion of 08551070003, requesting rezoning of the PDR, which is the planned residential development. Again, this is the second and final reading. This is not a public hearing. Did anybody on council have any questions of staff or the applicant or anybody else? Okay, if seeing none, at this time, I'll take a motion.
I'd like to make the motion. I make the motion that we adopt the ordinance annexing Green Top Road LLC property subject to the general conditions, conditions from the arbitration process, and conditions proffered by the applicant as set out in the ordinance.
Second.
Thank you. All right, any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign?
Nay.
All right, motion carries 4-1. Any other just topics? All right.
We're gonna do the zone, second reading of
Oh,
the
yeah,
zoning.
and the second and final reading of the zoning as well. Yes, this is the zoning to the PDR, the planned residential development. And
Well,
I'll take a motion.
I'll make that motion, and I move that we adopt the ordinance rezoning the Green Top Road LLC property subject to the general conditions, conditions from the arbitration process, and conditions proffered by the applicant as set out in the ordinance.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll take all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Same, motion carries 4-1 also. Thank you. That is the conclusion of that. I'll get the mayor again. Mr. Mayor, back to you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Okay, the next item on the agenda today is under the heading of Visitor Petitions, Communications, Complaints. The first item is a report from Historical Concepts, the Railroad District Plan presentation. Mr. Craig?
Yeah, Mayor Brady, members of the council, in the spring of 2023, I was approached by a Newnan resident, colleague, friend, actual former steering committee member for our Gateway Signage program. So,
Excuse me.
God bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Terry Pilot. With an opportunity to bring not only the expertise of his firm, Historical Concepts, but that of undergraduate students studying the field of architecture to our community to investigate a project. We kicked around a couple sites and landed on what we call the Railroad District. As you entered the building today, you saw a 3D model of that general district area, but it's those pieces of property abutting the railroad east of where we are today, but running essentially from 57 East Broad north to the current public safety complex. So I'll let Terry introduce his colleague and go through the process, but I hope what you see you enjoy. I hope you engage today. I hope you ask us to come back with more. So, sir?
Thank you, Haskell. Thank you.
Mr. Pond, if you, excuse me for just 1 second, I need to make a quick announcement. We have a work session that's scheduled to start today at 3:15. For this is a zoning request on Bullsboro Drive. And if you're here for that work session, we are gonna have it. We're gonna run a little long before we start it. So if you're here for that, just be patient. We have, to finish our rest of our agenda, and then we actually have a quick executive session for legal. Thank you for being here today.
So want to take a minute to thank Haskell and the city for their involvement in introducing us to the potential of what was identified in the LCI study previously as the connector to Andrew Street and that corridor that aligns from West Washington or East Washington to Augusta Drive. I'll let you take control of that. They were engaged in the process and sort of helped us along with our summer interns we have a summer internship that basically included two sets of students that came to be with our firm for this, for the summer. There was a total of 9. We had 2 sessions with the interns, so we developed this in 2 phases. The internship program is something that we've used at our firm to recruit from colleges such as Notre Dame, Miami, Benedictine, Utah Valley, and Catholic University. Each of these have a strong classical program in architecture. This is strictly an academic study where we encourage the interns to dream big. At the same time, keeping in line, creating a vision that could be feasible to develop. And that's based on what we have done with our own project experiences. Again, like Haskell said, we hope that you'll take an opportunity to see what we've done and hopefully be inspired by it. And at this time, I'm going to let someone younger and smarter than me take the reins and present what we did. This is Matt Schaefer.
Oh, great. Is that first button? Cool. All right, Terry, thank you very much, and Haskell, thanks for bringing this project to us. As Terry said, it was a project with 9 summer interns split up into 2 groups, looking at the section. I'll point at the one on the right here, but going from Washington Street, right near kind of center of town, along connecting Andrew Street, then up to Augusta Drive is really the main focus, and then looking at the streets that connect into that, and with the goal of extending then the historic urban character of downtown, and then blending into some of the more industrial character along the railroad, and some of the more residential housing as you extend north into the neighborhood. So we'll, moving some of the balloons to just so everyone can see the screen here. But we've got some of the numbers about the program here that we'd be able to introduce in the area, and then I'll get into some of the more architectural studies that the interns were able to lead, so that you can get a feel for the architectural character. I think when you just see the numbers, it can sound like, wow, they're proposing a lot of development. But I think when you see the character too, you'll see really how it integrates well into the existing historic part of the city. So broken up into 2 phases, we had our first group look at here phase 1, kind of the more urban character close to downtown. And then the second group look at phase 2, running along the rest of the proposed Andrew Street connection. In phase 1, proposing about 85 new units of residential, and another 88 units in phase 2. That's broken up between apartments, townhomes, flats above retail, and some existing, not existing, but some single-family or duplex houses in the phase 2. There would also be proposed over 100,000 square feet of commercial space between the entire development, and about 3 acres of public park space, and ample parking, over 400 spaces between lots contained within the block, so not facing the street, and then parking along the street that would, again, be able to still maintain the historic character without just having parking lots along the streets. So looking a little closer at the phase 1, like I said, I'll kind of move a little more quickly, but just so you can start to see the architectural character. So this is an example of a mixed-use building, apartments above retail, again, fitting in with a lot of the historic character of Noonan. So these are the elevations and some of the details, looking at bringing in some of the industrial elements like the brackets that would help tie it into this character of the railroad district. An example then of the ground floor with just the wide open retail spaces, and then showing how the flats up above would work, and including also for all of them to have things like balconies or access to a rooftop terrace. All right. This second part of that proposal, so it has two mixed-use buildings on either side of a courtyard where there would be a proposed farmer's market. So also working with a lot of things like porches, bringing in some southern character, but, you know, looking even further at places like New Orleans is where this intern was actually, where she grew up. So she wanted to bring in that character into her proposal. So this is an example, seeing the, you know, 2 stories of residential, 1 story of residential over the commercial space and with the farmer's market in between.
For the record, we kept the existing wall there and
Yes.
utilized it in this design.
Yeah,
We were
correct.
inspired by that.
Yeah, the way the idea of a farmer's market came about is because there's an existing brick wall on that part of the site. All right, next one, another mixed-use building. It'll start to be some more variety after this, I promise. But again, looking at commercial space with residential above on either side of, this would be the corner of a redesigned Olive Street that would be expanded to allow for a nice broad park space down the middle of the street.
Would that be like a walking venue, just like walking strictly?
Yes.
There-
There is vehicular access to either side.
Yes, yeah, there would be a 1 lane of traffic and then parking on either side of Olive, and then a 40-foot wide green space down the center. So, you know, walking, but also plenty of space for like a neighborhood football game or something like that. And then further down Olive, proposed townhouses connecting the rest of the way to, can't see the name of the street there. But looking at kind of a very traditional townhouse typology that would have parking in the back off of an alley and then stoops in the front. So giving a feel that is reminiscent of parts of Savannah and Charleston. And then kind of the centerpiece of the Phase 1 development, looking at a proposed loft-style apartment building. So adding a little bit of residential density, but also nice architectural feature that would be at the end of this broad park at Olive Street. And I think it's fun too to, you know, do the side-by-side of existing Olive Street and just what could be there instead. So again, building off of the character of not only the Noonan Lofts, but also some other examples, you know, like Ponce City Market in Atlanta. All in all, it would be 23 new apartment units with a few, you know, more unique ones like the one in the tower that would give some variety. All the parking for these apartments would be contained underneath the building, accessed off of a drive off of Andrew Street.
Is that assuming like 1 spot per unit?
A little more than 1 spot per unit, yeah. So some guest parking. All right. And then looking a little closer at Phase 2, again, so picking up on some of the larger, more industrial character along the railroad tracks, and then stitching in with some more, you know, duplex and cottage typology that helps to tie it into the existing neighborhoods. And in this case, using the existing water tower as kind of the finale moment in the proposal. So looking at creating a park that would tie into a proposed walking trail along the railroad tracks, that was something that Hasco mentioned to us at the end of Phase 1, that there's been discussion about the opportunity to use some of that land for a public walking trail. So a number of the proposals had connections to that green space. So the idea was to create a nice public square and terrace that would overlook the walking trail and the railroad, and then again pick up on the railroad character in order to create like a new restaurant and then a bike rental on either side of that public space. So this was the proposed restaurant with a rooftop, activated rooftop area, and then a bike rental
So Huey Square came about from research that the intern did on the train station that was at Savannah Street. There was a station master there named Huey.
Mm-hmm.
I told the interns to go ahead and dream big along the corridor, along the railroad there, that our city attorney could get access to that without a challenge. With the right of way.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, railroads, they're usually super easy to deal with on that, right?
You can always dream.
So a little further up Andrew Street, looking at a proposed cottage court. So again, something smaller scale that would tie into the neighborhood a little bit better. And the intern just did a fantastic job, I think, of creating this communal green space that would have a fire pit, a small playground for children. There would be a parking lot behind a commercial building on the corner that would be shared between the residential, especially, you know, overnight, and then the commercial space during the day. There would also, so these were each 2-bedroom cottages, and then there were some studio cottages as well to get some even more variety. Building off of, you know, a lot of really fantastic cottage typologies that you see around Georgia, around a lot of historic neighborhoods of Atlanta.
This is our youngest intern that we had. She was in her second year.
Second year, yeah. All right, and then across the street from it, a very different character, but we talked about the story of how a lot of you know, industrial uses would kind of be integrated into these village concepts, and it'd be the idea of you'd have the mill housing, which in the South usually was a detached product like the cottages, and then you would have it leading right up into a more, you know, industrial workplace. So this was looking at creating some more lofts, again, building off of a lot of historic lofts around Georgia. And this intern proposed to break it up between 2 buildings that would kind of tell a story of, you'd have the older loft building that, you know, was more brick wall and humble character. And then you would have the newer loft building when the company decided to expand, that would have the much bigger windows. And then, you know, envisioning that all of this would be built new as residential, but that was kind of the historic inspiration. So looking at the street side and then the side facing the railroad. Again, this would all be park underneath as well, so just to minimize the parking requirements along Andrew. And then lastly, this proposal for mixed-use buildings that would kind of act as the new gateway to downtown Noonan, this corner of Augusta Drive. You know, you come down the hill and over the railroad tracks, and then there would be this great corner building that would become kind of a new welcome point between the water tower, that then Andrew Street would become your most direct path into downtown. So again, proposing a number of residential units above the commercial space on the ground floor. And it would all be right across from a proposed park space as well. That was right here leading up to the water tower. And then we have a few shots from a model where we put it all together so you can see the buildings in context with one another. Also would recommend all of you on your way out, take another look at the 3D model that we have out in the lobby, just with some more context, and yeah, let us know what you think. So,
This is
on the
from the
street.
river view with Arnold Grocery at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's the existing grocery, the proposed mill building, the mixed use along Andrew Street, and then the townhouses, all as phase 1. And that's where you can see the mill tower in context with the existing courthouse. The park along Olive Street. And then looking where you can see Phase 2 and how it integrates into where Phase 1 left off. So you can see that long park that I talked about that leads right up to the water tower. And then a few shots from the street level to see the architectural character. These are a couple of the cottages next to some of the proposed commercial space. And then lastly, the water tower is kind of the anchor of the park and the finale of Phase 2 in context with the proposed mill and the courthouse. So, thank you all.
Very exciting.
Thank you. It was fun to do. It was really exciting to have the chance to explore and look at what the future could be for the area, realizing that a lot of this is personally held property at this point, so dreaming.
We are talking about other
Dreaming on
people's
someone
stuff
else's playground, but as we're looking at
Yeah.
this, we appreciate the opportunity for the interns to explore this and really appreciate the opportunity to present what we dreamed.
Well, a vision's got to start somewhere.
It absolutely
And this
does.
is a great place for that. That stretch of land just screams, redevelopment.
Yes.
It absolutely does. Now, question about the model out in the lobby. Are you going to be able to leave that for a while?
Sure.
Okay. Is there some ability to do a QR code with it so that anybody walks up with their smartphone, looking at it, can
Absolutely.
access this? That would be
Sure.
very cool for the people who are coming in and out of City Hall.
We're going to bring you into our office for IT. We really need your help.
No, you're not either. All I know is the letters QR. I don't know what they stand for. But that would be great. Any questions or comments from council?
Good job. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for allowing us to present. Well,
Yeah.
thank you again, Haskell, and all of the people of the city that helped us along.
I was gonna say that, Mayor Brady, members of council, before we leave, I think every member of the community development department, as well as the Main Street Department, was involved in this. They were active. Some of us visited the offices of Historical Concepts. These gentlemen and their team were down here not just once or twice, but a number of times. So it's very encouraging for us. I've been here almost 12 and a half years, and at least once during every one of those 12 and a half years, this portion of our downtown has come up in conversation somewhere. So to the mayor's point, Terry and Matt's point, it's nice to see what could be. I think they've delivered, hearing from the public, something on scale, something that fits, and just gives us a starting place. So if this is something that this body corporately would like us to kind of dig in deeper, I think we kind of have a head start here. We don't need to make those decisions today, of course, but if it is, members of the staff would very much enjoy kind of digging deeper into this.
I don't think it would surprise anybody to say that I love this process that we started here. In our retreat, we talked about going back to some of those LCI studies and some of the documents that we've already got and start to flesh those things out. And this is a portion of what we discussed then about doing this, and I think this is done very well to start to look at some of the needs in our community. An existing corridor that really needed some attention. I mean, we got this brought back to our attention, 2005 or something? I mean, when Kip Oldham came in and said, hey, here's an opportunity. So I love this process. I appreciate the attention to the character of Old Noonan in this. This is what classical architecture looks like, and what it can be when you pay attention to the details and what you all do very well as a company. And I love this study of more than just the 2D version, but really looking at how the juxtaposition of the towers and our courthouse and the visuals of all of that work together. Those are some of the things that I'd like to see us do more of when planning. And I'd love to see us do this not just here, but on 57 East and some of the other places that we need redeveloping, because a lot of times what we get are property owners who come and they're talking about their individual piece of property. This is getting to the point where we're doing real planning for our city, and this is what I think we need more of.
And someone might think that this competes with 57 East It
It doesn't.
It is the perfect complement.
Right,
Right.
absolutely.
For that. So it allows, it actually frees us up to some extent, if you can allow me to use that term, to be able to do something there that we thought we needed to include this in, and this gives us that space to move off that place and do something else. So, anyone else?
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just have just one comment, I'll make it brief. Those who worked on it, who you told to dream big, I think exceeded the dreaming process. What I admire about the architecture and the elevations, et cetera, is that it does, as Councilwoman Jenkins just described, it incorporates the old Noonan, but it adds an element that we don't have, which to me is really crucial in the architectural side of it and the elevations and just the presentation of it, the depths, the way you conceal the parking and just not make it congested. All those things are well done. So I want to please make sure that they receive the kudos that they deserve, because it was a great presentation. Thank you.
Appreciate that. We wanted it to be real as well. So
Yeah, fantastic
there's a lot of
job.
things, more to it than just the architecture.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. We'll move on to the next item on our agenda. In fact, we can move through the next four pretty quickly, I suspect. The first is a request from O.P. Evans School to close Evans Drive on November the 17th. That's, I believe, is this week, for a school-sponsored turkey trot from 8 a.m. to 12.
So
Is there a
moved.
motion?
Second.
Motion second. We approve the request. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. The next is a request from Tomco Construction to close sidewalks and streets for the re-roofing project on the Noonan Times Herald Building. Are there any questions on this?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. The next request from the Noonan Times Herald to set up a tent on the Court Square November 25th for Small Business Saturday. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. We grant the request. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. The next is a request from the Noonan Police Department to close part of South Court Square and West Broad Street between Brown and LaGrange for Christmas with a Cop on December the 9th, 2023, from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m.
So
Motion.
moved.
Second.
Motion is second. To grant the request. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. That ends our regular agenda. We do have a issue today for a legal executive session. Mayor Pro Tem Corretco will read that motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we now enter into closed sessions allowed by OCGA Section 50, Tac 14, Tac 4, and pursuant to advice by the city attorney for the purpose of discussing legal, and that we in open session adopt a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor or presiding officer to execute an affidavit in compliance with OCGA Section 50, Tac 14, Tac 4, and this body ratify the actions of the council taken in closed sessions and confirm that the subject matters of the closed sessions were within exceptions permitted by the open meetings law.
Second.
Second.
Is there a second? Motion is second. We go into executive session for legal. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Motion carried. Thank you for being here today, ladies and
Read
gentlemen.
that again a little faster.
The work session will start just as quickly as we can.
Still got to be sped up from that even.